welcome back to the Lemon Abroad. Today, I just got home from a 6-week vacation and I thought it would be really fun to unpack with you. On this trip, I tried a lot of new things, a lot of new types of travel products that I actually never really used before. And of course, I also had all my old systems that I've developed over the years, traveling to lots of different places, sometimes on short trips, sometimes on longer trips like this. So I thought it could be helpful to just share some of these tips and tricks that I've found over the years, and also some of the newer things that I've done for the first time on this trip. There's a lot I want to share with you, so let's get started. Now, I already have on my blog a full packing list that is my go-to list that I use every time I travel. So I'll put the link for that in the description box below. This video is more of explaining also what I packed, but also how I organized myself to be gone for this long of a time, moving in between different locations, and how I stay organized. It's really important when you travel that you feel organized, that you feel in control of your things, because the last thing you want to be worrying about is where you put something or losing something while you're in transit. You really just want to be enjoying your vacation. Okay, so the first bag that I had with me is my small crossbody bag, and I love having a bag like this for a few reasons. One reason is that it is actually on my body, so it's not a shoulder bag or a handbag that I might accidentally set down and forget somewhere. This bag just stays with me. If I'm traveling on a bus or on a train or something like that, it's just right on me and I'm not afraid of losing it. Also, having all of my valuables and important documents in it, I feel better having it in this type of bag because I can have it in front of me to avoid being pickpocketed. This bag in particular I really love because it has all kinds of different pockets. So in this small pocket, for example, I like to keep this little bag, and this just has some essentials like chapstick, hair ties, things like that. And it's just something that I always keep in my purse, so I can just take it out of one bag and put it in another one. In the next small pocket, I have my passport, so I always need to keep these with me when I'm traveling. And this way they're easily accessible for when I'm checking in at the airport or getting on the plane. I can just put my plane tickets inside here as well. So it's nice to just have everything you need right here. So especially when you're in the plane, for example, you don't have to be going through your bags and reaching for them everywhere. Everything you need is just right with you. And then in the big pocket, let's see, I had my sunglasses, of course. I had a little fan because it was so hot where I was traveling, so I always had this with me. I have my wallet and I have my phone charger, and luckily where I was going, I didn't need any converters or anything, but that's always something to be aware of if you're going to need plug converters. So I only needed to bring this, but I did get these little cord wrappers and I really like them. I can't believe I never had them before, but they're just little Velcro things that wrap around your cords so they stay more organized. And also, if you're traveling with other people, for example, you won't get your cords mixed up with theirs. And also because it's colorful, I would see it so I wouldn't forget it in the wall, or sometimes I would take this off and just leave it with my things. And then I would remember before I was leaving, okay, I have my cord wrapper, but I don't have my cord. Go take it from the wall before I leave the hostel or whatever. I had some snacks from the plane, a little coin purse, my headphones, some tissues, and just a little like game to play when I would be bored on the plane. I also have some sanitizing wipes that you get everywhere you go now. So I actually would travel with a couple of these, and they were really nice for, either wiping your hands, or when I would get to a hostel, I would wipe down like the shelf next to the bed, things like that. So these really came in handy. Okay, so the next bag I have is my backpack. As you can see, it is packed pretty full, and actually looking at it now, it looks like much larger than it is in real life. This is just a small backpack, and this is my go-to carry-on. It fits under the seat in front of me. That's another thing. Sometimes on certain carriers, you might only be allowed one bag on the plane. So sometimes I have to put my smaller bag into my backpack when I'm boarding the plane. But of course, that just depends on the carrier and their regulations, but just something to be aware of. Anyway, this backpack, it does fit under the seat in front of me. So I'm never really worried about it having to be gate checked. But if you are carrying on a normal normal suitcase. That is just something I want to let you be aware of, is that sometimes those bags do have to be gate checked. So if you are bringing a carry-on suitcase, don't put anything that you wouldn't want to be separated from in it. And that's even true with my backpack. Like when I'm traveling with my computer, of course I have to put it in here, but if for some reason my bag had to be gate checked, I could just take my computer with me. I try not to travel with valuables anyway, but I do keep all of my money, my passports, anything important that I would need, I would keep it in my small personal item just in case it had to be gate checked for some reason. Gate checked is when they run out of space for bags in the plane and they'll take your bag at the gate and give it back to you at the next gate, but you will be separated from your things for a while. So that's just something to be aware of. So usually in my carry-on, it's things that I either need on the plane with me, or in this case, things that I would need to reach often. For example, because I'm traveling for such a long time, I kept things that I would use every day in here, so that way I wouldn't have to always be digging through my suitcase just to look for basic things. Okay, so let's see what's inside. Okay, so for example, I have more wet wipes, things like that. I also have a deck of playing cards. These are the Italian playing cards, and these really came in handy. I taught a lot of people how to play Italian card games, and I would also play some solitaire games, for example, when I was just in the hostel by myself. I have my hat. I had my pajamas that I was traveling with. I have this little bag here where I would keep like my medicines and my vitamins and stuff that I would be taking every day. And then in my suitcase, I have like a pharmacy bag where I keep all of the extras and things that I need. I also had a sleep mask in here. This is really useful because, for example, if you're on a plane and you're trying to sleep, or if you're in a hostel and, you know, people are coming in, turning the lights on. So this was really good to keep within arm's reach because you never know when you're going to need it. I also finally bought a luggage scale. I can't believe that I did not have one of these before, especially as many times as I have really cut it close with my suitcases. But I found this was really useful to keep track of how much my suitcases weighed, especially as I was buying souvenirs and stuff. And it just made me feel better knowing that I wasn't going to get to the airport and have my bags be surprisingly overweight and then have to deal with that drama. So this is a travel purchase I recommend. My hairbrush, some candy for the flight and just for traveling around. Makeup remover wipes. Again, these are good also when you're flying, just to have like a refresh. Here I also have a luggage secure belt. I don't know what they're called, but I got these for the first time and I did use them and I really like them. They were really good to also identify your luggage because, you know, everyone has like big black suitcases. So I really liked being able to see my bags coming off the belt. Also because I really did squeeze as much as I could into my bags. It was really good to have this because I just felt like it made them more secure. However, I did lose one. I don't know how, but one of them did come off one of my suitcases, but that's okay. So I would say it's something I recommend, but take into account that you might lose it. So factor that into how much you're going to spend on it. I had a Sudoku book and some pens. Actually, I never used this the entire time I was traveling, but I have traveled with it for a while and you never know when you're going to be bored and need something to do. I also had a little day calendar. I didn't want to travel with my big planner that I normally use, but I did keep this just to make some notes and keep track of things. So this was a good little thing to have. So while my backpack is usually for, like I said, essential things, things I'm using every day, things that I don't want to check in my suitcase, I actually did have to use it for some overflow. So I did have one of my luggage bags, these compression luggage bags, and I used these for the first time on this trip. Again, I can't believe I didn't have these before. I really do feel like they helped me save some space. It's kind of a toss-up because while they do compress all your things, then they are in this kind of weird shape, which isn't always the most convenient for packing. So I think it depends on what kind of trip you're on. But because on this trip I was going on lots of different activities. I was going to be, you know, walking around a city. I was going to be hiking, doing yoga. There were so many different activities that I needed different kinds of clothes for. So I really do think that not only for the space, but for helping me stay organized, these bags really did help. Here I have my handbag that I folded up and put in my backpack, my toothbrush. I also have my bag of liquids that I could take through the airport. In this size bag, which is the standard size, I think for flying anywhere these days. So I have products that are under the liquid amount requirement, and I have just so many of them that I can make them fit in this bag. What's also nice is that I don't just keep liquids, but I also keep some other things that, like I said, they're my go-to things that I'm using every day. And this way, everything's in one place, and I don't have to be opening up my suitcase when I need to brush my teeth, for example. I have everything in here, and that way, when I'm going to different places, different hostels, I just have to take out this one bag, and I have everything I need. So, for example, I have my sunscreen, moisturizer, deodorant. I have some just essential makeup. I have my toothpaste, I have floss. I also have these little mini toothbrushes, which of course is not the same as brushing your teeth, but it is really nice to have, especially on like longer flights, or just to keep with you, because maybe if you're traveling for a long time, like you just need a little refresh. Okay, so I got this little fan because I thought where I'm going, it's going to be so hot, I'm going to need to just pull out this fan, and I never used this. I would carry it in my purse with me. It's not that heavy, but it's pretty big. I never used it. I just never thought to reach for it. Like even if it was warm, I would just take out my little normal fan. I don't know if I felt like funny, like fanning myself with this, but yeah, I found another snack that I didn't eat. I think it's good to have snacks with you because you just never know when you're going to need a pick-me-up. And if you buy a box of these, for example, from your grocery store, it probably is the same cost as buying just one at the airport. As I mentioned before, I do like having small bags with me. So all of these small bags have their own purpose and have different things in them that I would need, and it just helps me stay organized and keep everything in its place. So for example, this small bag, it was where I had my charger, and I also have my portable charger and the cord for that. I actually didn't end up using my portable charger on this trip, but I think it's something that's really important to have with you when you travel, because when you travel, you are using your devices so much more often than normal. You're taking a lot of pictures, you're looking up directions, and so your battery is going to die quicker than you would think. You don't know when you're going to be able to go back to the hotel and charge it, and to be honest, you don't really want to waste your time on that. So I think it's really important to have a portable charger with you, because you never know when your flight's going to be delayed and you don't have the ability to charge it. Also, I think that using the USB chargers isn't really secure. So if you have a portable charger, you know that it's going to be a secure way, and you know that you won't be stranded without being able to charge your phone. So in this bag, I also have some essential medicine that I just wanted to keep with me. So like I said, it was in my backpack, so it was always going to be with me. So anything you have that's something that you wouldn't want to be separated from, you wouldn't want to lose, whatever that thing might be, valuables, medicine, electronics, just be sure that you're going to have a way to keep it with you while you're traveling. Okay, so next I have my duffel bag, and this is my second checked bag. So with my airline carriers, I was able to purchase extra weight that could be divided between different bags. So this is going to be different on every airline, because sometimes you purchase by luggage pieces, like you can have one suitcase or two suitcases, and sometimes you purchase by weight. So just check that with your airlines. But fortunately, with the airlines I was flying, I was able to purchase by weight, which means that I could divide them up into two different suitcases. So I did have to get another bag to fit all of my things. As you can see, I do have the luggage wrap, which, especially with checking a bag like this, just made me feel more secure. I of course have a small lock on my bag, which I have a bunch of these little padlocks that are approved for travel. And this way I can put them on my suitcases when I fly, when I am on a bus. I can put them on my backpack if I'm on public transportation. I can use them in hostel lockers. So it's really good to have a few of these, because you never know when you're going to need to lock up your things and keep them secure. And I got cute new luggage tags for this trip too. Okay, so let's see what's inside. Okay, so I just have some random clothes in here. I also have a few of these laundry bags. I travel with these. These are really good to travel with just to keep clothes in them, socks or things like that. And it's another way to keep your things organized. And these, for example, since they're more flexible, some people might find them easier to travel with than the compression bags, because these ones you could maneuver, and it's just good also, I find, to just help keep things separate and organized. So I also have a bag of some over-the-counter medicines that I brought from home, also some things like Band-Aids, random first aid, things like this. When you're traveling, you know, your immune system kind of gets down, you're tired, you're run down, you're coming into contact with a lot of different people. I find that I usually do get some kind of cold or something when I'm traveling, so I just wanted to bring some medicine so that way I wouldn't have to be running to the pharmacy, worrying about if it's the same thing that I take at home. It's nice to just have a few of those things, especially when traveling for a long time like this and in a different country. Okay, so I also have my things like sunscreen, bath soap, shampoo, and conditioner. I usually like to put them in these little bottles, of course, so that way you don't have to bring your full-size bottle of shampoo and conditioner with you. More clothes, more things like bug spray, makeup wipes, things like this, extras, toothpaste. This way I had all of my stuff. I wasn't going to need to be going to the pharmacy and buy them. As you can see, I didn't end up using everything I brought, but that's okay. I just looked at what I'm using in my everyday life now, because also with clothing, for example, when you travel, you are basically just living your life somewhere else. So I like to travel with the same clothes I wear every day. They're the clothes I'm comfortable in. I know I like to wear them. So it's also with the things I use. I just look at my daily routine, what I do from morning to night. What things do I need? What do I use? And also with some maybe preparations for unexpected things that can happen when you travel. The rest is just some shoes, some books that I bought, and other things that I bought when I was traveling. It was good that I got this extra bag so that way I could get everything I wanted. Okay, so now we have the main suitcase, my big bag that I can't show because it's too heavy for me to pick up, which is one reason why it is also wrapped in plastic. I've actually never done this before, where you wrap your suitcase at the airport, but this bag was really packed to the max. It had all my souvenirs in it, things that I just wouldn't want to lose or break. So they're all packed very neatly inside here, in between bubble wrap and clothes and things like that. And I also just was kind of worried about the suitcase kind of ripping open, because I just bought a cheap suitcase to travel with, which I don't recommend, because by the time I got back home, one of the wheels was almost falling off and it kind of seemed like it was ripping at the seams, which is why I wrapped it in plastic. So now I kind of feel like this is Christmas morning, like cutting into this. Okay, so the first thing I had in my suitcase was a pair of flip-flops, and these are essential when you are traveling, in my opinion. Mostly for staying in hostels, it's just nice to be able to slip them on and be able to have something to walk around in. I also had some of these color catchers. These are things that you put in the laundry, especially because you're using different laundry machines. You don't know the laundry detergent, so I feel like these were just good for me to make sure that none of my clothes got ruined from the wash. I also brought a stretching band with me, and this was really useful because it's obviously very thin. You could just fold it up and put it in your luggage, but it was really nice to do some stretches. Also, especially when you're traveling, you are carrying this heavy luggage, you're not used to it. You're sitting on trains, on buses, so it's really easy for your back and neck to become sore. I really liked having this and being able to do some stretches. One thing that I also did on this trip when I was staying in hostels, for example, is I would get an extra towel. Usually it's like really cheap to rent a towel in a hostel, and I would use that as a mat so that way I could do some yoga and do some stretching. I also have a drawstring backpack that I could just fold up and keep in my suitcase. This was really nice to use when I was going on hikes, when I was going to the beach. This way I could just put all of the things I needed for the day in this little backpack and take it with me. I also brought a very thin raincoat, which I fortunately did not have to end up using, but it was just, you know, something that was small. It was really easy to take with me just in case I needed it. So here I also have more of these compression bags. They have a few different sizes. So you can see I have larger ones. These are good for jeans, dresses, and then smaller ones, which were good for t-shirts and undergarments and things like that. I also have a dirty laundry bag. So this was really good, obviously, just to keep all my dirty laundry separate from the other ones. In my suitcase, I had my makeup bag. So this has like more makeup that I would need if I was going for a night out or something. But I did take the few things that I use every day and keep them in my essentials bag that I had with me in my backpack, and it had all the stuff that I use every day anyway. So the last thing that I want to share with you that I brought on this trip, and this is something that I never had before, I bought them for the first time for this trip, are these microfiber towels. So this one is the size of like a beach towel, and then I also got this little one which is, you know, kind of like for your face, just a little towel. I used both of these, like I said, because of the kind of trip I was on. I was going to the beach, I was going into nature. These were really useful for me, especially because they have this little box that they came in. You could just fold them up. They're much bigger than they are in this box. By folding them up, they don't take up that much space. They dry really fast, so it's perfect if you're traveling. Also because it had this like ventilation system, even if they weren't completely dry, you could put them in there until you got somewhere where you could actually hang them up. So these are definitely something I recommend if you're going to be going on this kind of trip. Okay, one thing that I did forget to mention before, but I found when I was unpacking all my clothes, was that I did get an air tag, so a tracker that you can put in your suitcase. And honestly, I loved having this. I get really anxious about losing my stuff, and it was just really reassuring having this in my suitcase. So for example, if it got lost during transit with the airplane, I would be able to find it wherever it ended up. Also, when I was traveling on a bus, for example, where your luggage is under the bus and the door is opening up, people are getting on and off, it was just really nice being able to pull up on my phone and see that the bag was moving along with me on the bus. So it's definitely something that I will use again. All right, so that is everything that I brought on this trip. And like I said, I do have a more detailed packing list that is my go-to packing list that I use every time I travel. It's on my blog, and I will put the link in the description box. But I just wanted to share with you all of these, especially travel accessories that I've survived without for more than 10 years of traveling, but that I did find really useful this time around. So I hope that you also found this video useful and interesting to watch. And good luck packing for your next trip. I will see you next time. Ciao!